So you guys saw that we got a bunch of containers.
How did we do for the week? Welcome to Truck and Travel. I'm Derek.
I'm Cinnamon. This is Caleb.
That's Caleb. So basically we decided we'd do something different on this channel than what we normally do. We wanted to give you a rundown for what we did for the week since you pretty much rode along with us. Mm-hmm. We did, what was our first thing we dropped off? Any idea?
It was turf.
Oh yeah, AstroTurf, and that went to...
It was from Kankakee, Illinois
Cleveland?
to Orrville.
Around Cleveland, right?
Orrville, Ohio. Yeah.
So first thing we did was the turf thing. We picked it up on Friday, last Friday, or whatever. We picked it up on a Friday, and then we brought it home over the weekend, and then it was the first thing we dropped off on Monday. And then how many containers did we do, Cinnamon?
We did 5 containers, and this was actually the first week that we've tried the ride along with us. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, man, we're doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, it's gotta be boring.
So it's going to be different. You actually caught us on a very rare week.
It was different.
We did the same thing.
Very different.
Yeah, and we had never done containers before, because we were a little weary about, strapping it, and because it's a big thing,
It's different. It's new to us.
Yeah.
And after that, we kind of wanted just to keep on doing a couple because we knew how much it was, and we really wanted to practice for the containers and get comfortable with it. And it was a short distance run, so we did it.
Yeah.
But it also cost a lot of deadhead.
It did.
But do you remember how much it cost per mile, or the pay per mile on those containers?
Give me a calculator. No, it's $3.52. $3.52.
There you go. And that's why we basically took it, because it was like $500.
Yeah.
A little bit over just 500.
It was 500. I think it was for like 145 miles or 42 or something like that. Whatever equals $3.52 a mile.
So that kind of made up for the deadhead and all that. I do think there's a ton of room for improvement on what we can make in the week. This wasn't our best week though, was it? Last week was our best week, wasn't it? It was pretty much the same thing though. Apples that. I mean, it's the same dang thing.
Yeah.
$3,000 you might as well say.
And $25. $3,000.
Yeah.
25.
Same thing. But the good news is we're not going below 3,000, but we definitely need to go up for our personal bills that we have, our accumulated debt that we've created before this business even started. We got a lot. And while you're going over this, I want to figure out what one of our payments is, but we're going to basically break down like the basic stuff that we could think of last minute to give you for our costs. That doesn't, for our situation, aside from our personal bills, this is the direct Hotshot cost and what we made. Okay, so how I figure out what our costs are per week, there's how many weeks in a year?
52.
And I divide that by 12 because there's 12 months in a year, and that ends up being 4.3 weeks an average. And so that way, when there are less weeks than 4 or whatever, or 4.3, you can put aside some money, then when there's more, you have that money right there, so it all balances out in the end. So that's how I figure out my math. Everything is divided by 4.3. We did a total of 2,215 miles total, but that wasn't paid miles.
Yeah, that's including the deadheads from the very beginning of the week, from us taking off from the house to us coming home the last day.
And then going back to Cleveland from Columbus to pick up another container.
Okay, so something else to consider is that we had the turf, then we had the 5 containers, and then we've actually picked up a load while we were heading back home. We picked it up in Cleveland, and that's something that we're going to deliver on Monday. So we had that also.
Well, but we don't include what we're going to make off that until next week. So you'll see
Right.
that in like next week's what we make next week. So that's just how I like to do things.
Like the load that we got on Monday, the very first one that we delivered, that
Yeah.
was picked up at the end of the previous week.
Yeah,
So that's
so-
how we like to
but,
figure it out.
Yeah, it just makes life easier.
Yeah. So we did 2,215 total miles for the week, and we made $3,025. Now, for cost during the week, we had $105 cost for fuel, and I think a lot of that was because of the containers, obviously.
How much did you say?
$805.
That's just an estimated cost too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of what the truck burned up. We took the miles and the average miles per gallon and figured out our own math. And I've estimated it was going to be $3.20 because I got some cheap diesel around $3.05, and then I got some more expensive stuff. But in the future, we'll probably assume it's going to be $3.45.
Yep. And then we have the insurance for the truck, which ends up being $194 a week. So we subtracted $194. Our truck payment for 1 week is $336.27. So, and then for tolls this week, we accumulated $41.25. And then we had $20 for paying to unload. Because what happened was there was construction around Columbus, and it put us back, and we had we hustled. We
was gonna, like, from Cleveland, it was saying we had about 15 minutes roughly. And I had a bad feeling about it because of cities. You know, whenever there's cities, there's always, you know, a chance of traffic or backed up traffic, whatever. And there was.
like, we can make it. Do you want to tell them what happened?
No, go ahead.
So Derek was about ready. Like, there's we're going this way, and the lane going this way is full of cars, and so we're looking for the place to turn, and Derek just keeps going. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, because we're supposed to.
It was already we were already late at that point.
It was 4:04 or some 4:03, 4:04, and they stopped loading at 4 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, if we, it was just down that one road. Like, if we get there by even 4:06, I'm sure we can talk him into it or something. So it's 4:04, and we keep going, and there's nowhere to turn around, and I'm just going, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to take this thing all the way home and come all and so he finds a place to turn around, and we go in there, and so he pulls in, and at the gate was open, and the place where he pulls in, the person that's supposed to guard. Check him in isn't there, and we look over, and the one machine that they have running to unload and everything, the guy gets out, and so Derek, he goes and he grabs a 20 and he gets out, and I see him talking to the guy, and I'm just like, oh please. And so tell him what the guy said.
First of all, I asked him, I said, are you done for the day? He goes, oh yeah, I'm out of the machine, it's past 4, I'm done. I go, what if I gave you a 20, would you do it then? And he kind of lowered his breath, and he kind of didn't move his mouth too much. He's like, of course I'd do it for a 20. He's like, don't say that anymore, though. Yeah. I'm like, where do you want me to go? He's like, just go around back over there. He's like, of course I'll do that for money.
So we had a good laugh about that, but we're very happy that,
And to be honest, $20 is well worth it, because we would have had...
a lot less than the gas money.
Because we would have burned up so much fuel, because we would have had to either get a hotel and pay somebody to feed our cats, or we would have had to drive all the way back home, which was over 100 miles, and then drive back, that same little bit over 100 miles. So you figure out that cost in fuel would be horrible. And our truck was getting an average about 6.9 miles per gallon with that shipping container. We was driving about 59 to 65 miles per hour. It just depended on how the temperature gauges were doing on the truck. We were watching the trans temp and the oil temperature, and even the
That's Norton.
Thanks, Norton. And even the coolant temperature, you know. So we found out the sweet spot to where the truck was decent was at about 59 to 65. So
yeah. So $20 for paid to unload. For food, we estimated, like we had kind of budgeted and we said, okay, we're going to try and keep it under 175. And so you think for 2 people, that seems like a bit much, but oh my gosh, truck stops are so expensive. Like I say it all the time. I'm like, Derek, this is so expensive. And he goes, if that's the only reason why you're not going to get that, then you may as well not eat. Like he tells me that all the time because it's, I don't know.
You don't have a choice. You're tied down.
And they know that. So
yeah.
But we spent $148.21. So we tried to do good and not just, you know, and we didn't have any Red Bulls this week, and that helped because those are $4.99 each.
The thing that really sucks, one time when I got tired, I ended up getting coffee instead. Mm-hmm. So, and since we've been using Loves, I got free coffee. We gotta watch these guys. They're ridiculous.
They like to crawl on stuff like.
Instead of getting Red Bull, we got. I got a coffee, and you know, since we're using Love so much, I got a free coffee, so that was nice. Excuse me. We would get food and put it in a cooler. The current cooler we have in the truck is one you plug into the cigarette lighter, and it's not working out right now, and so we don't have it plugged in. I don't want to put ice in it because I got it those rubber straps on it, and it is tight. And there's a couple different ones on there. I think there's about 3 straps holding that sucker down. I'm not real sure, but and then we got junk piled around it, and it doesn't have a place for a drain. And so I really don't want to shove ice in there. And I haven't decided what we're going to do with that thing yet, but I'm kind of waiting for winter to roll around because once we have the downtime, chances are we're going to be in a hotel, and so I'm hoping once we're in the hotel overnight that crap inside, I hope it doesn't freeze, but I know it's going to get really cold, so I hope it works as a cooler, you know, without putting ice in there or having to plug it in. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So that's the situation with that. So we can't necessarily put food items in there. And we actually did try to get food items in there when it was working properly, but we weren't eating them and they were just spoiling. Yeah. And it just felt like it was a time issue for the food. Like didn't have time to sit there and cut it up or whatever you wanted. I can't really remember, but it just seemed like it wasn't convenient at that moment.
Yeah. So our weekly trailer payment is $160.25 or 23. Is that a 3? That's your handwriting.
160.23 cents. It's a penny or two. It don't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's $160.23. And then for the week, our miles per gallon, our average was 8.8, which I think was pretty good since since the majority of it was containers.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have been long runs, the fuel mileage would have been way down because there would have been less deadhead. And when we're doing the deadhead, that's when the fuel mileage started to go back up. And I think this truck, depending on where you're at and how fast you're going, it can get about 10 to 12 miles per gallon empty with that trailer empty.
Yeah. So when we subtract the $3,025 that we made this week, and then all of our truck costs, food, fuel, all that, $20 to get unloaded. So we're left with $1,310.04. So, I mean, that's not even half of like what we made, you know, but at least it covers those costs and stuff. And it's all relative to what your bills are and stuff too, because you'll hear some hotshot people who are like, you know, you can make so much money and they have like no bills. But then you have us who we have a lot of bills and stuff, where we're just like, you know, we're barely we haven't really even made.
I'm gonna go back to something our buddy Josh D said. It's good to start this out if you got about $10,000 to $15,000 set aside.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I didn't see it then. Totally see it now. Josh, you're a brilliant
there's
man.
so much to learn. There's,
Brilliant.
you know, this is, I don't even know what
We started in August, I believe.
it was like
1st of
August
August?
21st. No, August 21st was our first load to Missouri. So that week, and then you have the second week. So maybe 6 weeks. Is that right?
I don't know.
But anyways, I feel like every week, you know, the more loads that we're doing, we're kind of getting for a feel for things and stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of inconvenience that you just kind of have to suck up, especially in the beginning. Like, for instance, we would love to have a Conestoga.
Yeah.
Like, that would be amazing. And so we hate tarp loads, but if it's paying really good, and especially if that's the only load that you have to do it,
Right.
you know.
Our problem is that we're about tearing up a tarp every time we use the tarps, and so then after that use, you can't use that tarp until you get more tarps, and that's just creating more debt for us. And then it's an inconvenience because do you wait until the weekend when you're at home to go to the store and try to buy some and hope that they got the actual right size at the store?
And the thing also is that, like, these tarps that we're getting are like $60
a piece.
Except
for the last two. The last two, they didn't have the size that we normally get, so I had to get even bigger ones that costed even more money. And I think the two of them costed like $150 for both of them.
Yeah, so it was like $75 or $70 plus tax. But it stinks because.
And I almost feel like personally, we would be further ahead just to get a Conestoga because I think the monthly payments would be cheaper than what we're spending on all these new tarps.
That's true.
All we gotta do is get rid of like one credit card payment, and I think that it would be no different. And then I think it'd be beneficial to us.
And save us time. Oh my goodness.
It'd be beneficial in one way, but it'd be a negative in another way. I would say our time of being spent loading and all that would go down big time, and maybe about, I don't know, I'm just assuming 10 hours a week if you do a lot of tarp loads, which that could add up to a full day almost of driving. Who knows? I mean, that's just a number thrown out there. Just, blinded. I didn't even think about it. But the negative thing is it's going to really lower your miles per gallon. And so you think about it, you're going to get probably maybe 8 miles per gallon or less depending on your vehicle and the setup of the vehicle. So that's just something else to think about. It's really hard to say. The truck has a service engine light coming on, and we checked it out, and I can't remember the code number. Do you?
No, offhand.
It don't matter, but it's something to do with like the DEF tank level sensor. So it might be the sensor, I don't know, but since it's something to do with that, I'm kind of ignoring it right now. I reset it when I can, or erase it when I can. But we are nervous about that. We've been thinking a lot about a delete. We're not in a position right now to get one, but we're definitely talking about it and considering it. It seems like I priced one before, and they're saying it'd be around $2,600 for them to install it and all that crap. So that's a ton of money. I don't know if we will do that or not in this near future. It probably just depends on how we're doing with loads and whatnot, but I feel like it's gonna help the engine out by not putting a bunch of dirty crap through the air. The clean air is supposed to be getting. I think the engine's gonna run cooler because it's not gonna have that hot air going through there. It's gonna get a better air flow because the EGR cooler, I'm pretty sure it's restricting air that's going in there, so you're gonna gain some horsepower just from removing that thing. And then you'll gain some miles per gallon. So I feel like it's really beneficial to do this. The longer it's on there, the more it makes me nervous on, the motor. How long is that gonna, how well is that sucker gonna do?
I'm gonna tell them how we kind of figured out if it even saved us 1 mile per gallon.
Oh yeah, I don't remember the math on that though.
So when we figured out how much money we'd save, even if it helped with 1 mile per gallon and helped us with that efficiency. What did you hear? It was 2 to 3. Like,
Yeah, I've been hearing 2 to 3 on the truck that we previously had. We saved about 2 to 3 miles per gallon. That thing did.
I want another faster car. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me.